Hello everyone and welcome to my more important analysis videos on Wednesday 28th of March with me, Richard Perry, market analyst at Hantec Markets. We've got the markets swinging around again, big volatility in markets at the moment, and we've seen a big swing to the downside once again. Yesterday, the Wall Street markets closed sharply lower. Really interesting, again, like just the continued sort of toing and froing wild swings higher and lower on these markets are incredibly difficult to play, and that is once again sort of seen that through the S&P 500, whereby you saw a tech sector sell-off that drove the markets lower, and it's been a real sort of down day again today in Europe, with the markets across the board all lower. DAX and CAC decisively lower, over 1%, FTSE just less than that. It's an incredible move, and that sort of sell-off in equity markets has driven a breakdown on the Treasury yield. 10-year Treasury yield below 2.79, that key March low. Now that's interesting because that effectively sort of creates a little bit of a pattern that sort of suggests that we could come back towards the mid 2.6 area. So yeah, the market really is shifting once again, sort of back into treasuries, and you can see the 2-year sort of dipping lower. And interesting, look at this. The yield spread on the 2 to 10, so the flattening of the yield curve continues, and that's back at 50 basis points now. Wow. So yeah, this drove a bit of a dollar downside move in the last few days, pairing a bit of the downside yesterday. Pairing a bit of the downside yesterday with the market rallying, but the market sort of stabilised a bit now. It's interesting that this selling pressure continues to come through the dollar. Really, I mean the dollar's sort of mixed a bit today. Euro's basically flat on the day. Yen is slightly corrective. Pound is a bit stronger, but yeah, generally speaking, you're pretty much mixed on sentiment, and actually, you're not getting too much direction. Although that mild bit of dollar strength has pulled gold lower back towards 1341. That is a key level on gold. I'll talk about that in my chart analysis videos in a bit. In terms of data though, today you haven't got a great deal. You've got GDP, again very quiet European morning. You've got GDP at 130 for the States, the final revision of GDP, expected to be slightly revised higher to 2.7 from the revision from the prelim reading of 2.5. Then you've got pending home sales at 3 o'clock, expected to improve by just around about 2%. And then you've got the weekly crude stocks. Now we had yesterday the API inventories, which showed a surprise inventory build on the crude stocks, so that could have a bit of upside risk to that number, 0.85, 0.9 million barrels of crude, so watch out for that, but that's at 3:30 today. Now my chart today is Euro Yen, which I think is an interesting chart, because you've sort of seen that in recent months Euro Yen, so since August really, have been trading around this pivot band. I've sort of talked about it a lot previously, 31.15 to 32 figure. Old resistance became supportive, and then subsequently in March it's become resistance again. And what we're seeing is sort of the move every time we sort of rallies into that resistance band, it sort of rolls over. And what we have got is the markets again yesterday rallying sharply into that sort of the midst of that resistance band, but failing and rolling over. This morning the market has basically failed pretty much at that 131.15 area of resistance. I think 131.20 is today's high. So is this again a sort of a move that's going to get sold into? Well, we've got the momentum indicators, which are sort of still negatively configured on a medium-term basis, but they're not decisively so. I think it sort of reflects, I think, that Euro Yen is going to remain a range play, really. And I don't see Euro Yen trending. I think it's going to be sort of holding up between these key lows of 27.50 to 29 figure. And I think that the fact that it's going to sort of be continue to trade around this pivot. So it's going to be attracted towards this pivot, basically, is what I'm saying. So I think that what we're going to see is a continued sort of gravitation around this pivot. It doesn't really look as though this is trending in any real direction, looking at the moving averages anyway. Now, in terms of the hourly chart, we've got A move that broke out above 3170 yesterday, but again, as I said, failed. And you got really no sort of decisive momentum on the hourly chart either, with the RSI on the hourly sort of back towards 30, going above 70, and then sort of hovering around sort of the 40 to 60 area today. So again, not really any massive direction on this euro yen. It seems as though the market is fairly sort of settled in its medium to longer term outlook of euro yen being in a range phase and trading around those pivots. So I hope that helps you, and I wish you good luck in your trading, and I will speak to you later.